Okay, we'll take the moon. This is the most severe planet, the most outermost planet to the most innermost planet, the most sensitive, emotional, feeling, needy, sympathetic planet to the most ruthless, harsh, detached, confrontational, unsympathetic planet. So when Pluto or Neptune or Uranus, any one of them having difficult aspects implies some kind of abuse. Something's not as it seems. Something was not normal in the family and in one's upbringing. But Pluto implies there was harshness. You know, when you have Pluto square or conjunct or oppose your moon, even the trines and the sextiles, they can create a certain control factor, but it's not going to be as critically fearful. It's going to be dealable. But when it makes the conjunctions or the squares, the oppositions, it's what's real, what's true. It forces this reality, this audit on it. So when Pluto hits the moon, it means harsh sympathies. Give me a hug. No. Feed me. No. Who wants this kid? So usually when Pluto hits the moon, first of all, when you're born, your chart is a situation between your parents. So your moon, that's your mom. So if you have Pluto hit the moon, your mom was afraid, confronted, harsh, alone, weak, had a difficult delivery, probably a very long delivery, with a certain amount of pain and difficulty. And you got born out of necessity. But mom had a rough time of it. And once you were born, she had to heal herself in difficulty and didn't have the extra energy to give you the extra attention or sympathy. You got dealt with as was needed. If you're alive, you still survived. You know, like the boy named Sue. But it's, if you ask for sympathy, you don't get it. If you ask for extra attention, mother didn't have it. So there's a battle around the feelings, around the home, around one's instincts, around one's intuition. And Pluto tends to, if you get fear, it blocks off all your intuitions and really your sympathies. If you're afraid, you're just trying to avoid the fear and protect your sympathies inside and hold it in. So Pluto comes in, hits the moon, and you hold your feelings in really deeply, and you don't show them to anybody. So even though you didn't have sympathy, you didn't learn sympathy from the mother, you're not going to have sympathy and grow. You're not going to be that sympathetic in growing up. You may not want to be hugged. You know, you may see it as an over control of don't touch me or stay on me, but there's going to be this, it's called a coldness. There's a cold chill coming from Pluto, a harshness on the moon and the feelings. So there could be a fear or a hate or an anger of mom or family. So people with the outer planets, not just Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, when they have difficult aspects to the moon, they usually have to learn to live, learn how to live and get their habits based, not from their family, but from almost getting out of their family and setting up their own world. But if you have to set up your habits, someone could have the Pluto moon and they live in a rich family, everything's fine, but they're being forced to have to take violin or piano from age 3 and being forced to have to do these things. And it's not their choice of hobby, not what they want. They have to do it for fear of repercussion. So at the same time, if you have the Pluto moon, it's unlikely that you're going to be very experimental around food and around eating. You're going to be more minimalist and more controlled around it. If you live with someone with the moon conjunct Pluto, you're not going to ask for a hug. You might give one, you see that's how they are, and you're going to work around it. It's not the end of life, it's just one aspect. To solve it, you have to make the moon as much in the sign and the house and all the categories, make it feel and be alive about these things as much as possible. And you're going to have to let Pluto be in its sign and its house. It will take and deal with things, deal with the fears there. But the struggle is to not let the fears kill you or diminish your feelings or sympathy so life isn't pleasant. Well, not everybody comes into a pleasant life, to a welcome family. So for many reasons, the Pluto moon is, it can control things. It can control its feelings, so it can express feelings in that. It just will have difficulty surrendering. So a woman might have the Pluto moon and she finds the guy she wants, she marries him, she sets it up, it's like she builds up the whole thing and she takes care of her guy, feelings, everything else, but she's doing it, she's not surrendering, she's not open and vulnerable, not receptive because there's a fear of what might come in. So when you have these things, you're forced to face the truth about home and family. You're forced to have to live a certain way, to have a certain diet. It could be on a dietary level. There's some chemical thing missing. You're forced to maintain a certain diet. But even so, there's a challenge with closeness, with feelings. There's a fear of changing habits. There's a fear of staying with the same ones you got. There's a fear of letting people get close. There's a fear of where you might live. There's a fear of who you might live with. There might be fear of living with anybody. Many women with them, women and men. There might be a fear of why bring a kid into this horrible world? Whoa. So it can affect fertility. It can affect nutrition. All of these things. So when you see it in a person, there's a harshness, a lack of innocence around town. Something was not there or was taken away at birth by mom being sick and having to take care of things, not giving you extra attention, by abuse in a family, by harshness or just fear of your parents having kids. If it's in your chart, it was there when your parents were born. Not that you can just blame them. They were just another guy and a girl that got together, had kids. We didn't get here because our parents are saints. We get here because they weren't saints. How can we expect them to be a saint when the very process of getting here was them not being saints? But as soon as a moon with Pluto aspect is challenged, it's a personal issue. It's really serious immediately. It's a big deal. It's not a small deal. They'll either confront or pull away. And you won't know why, how to reach it. So this requires as one grows up, one has the loss of innocence, but is feeling something's missing or doesn't let go. And then eventually one has to try and build up a lifestyle, force one to live to get through one's blocks, to overcome that. Because often if you get afraid, you make judgments, everything else, the chart works around it, and you've got this guard, this block on your moon. So you might have to grow up and have to be taking care of your dad or be fear of your dad or mom or something in the family, and be afraid of having, we grow up without any hobbies or any habits, it was just necessity. And you might have to learn how to live differently. You might have to learn to eat differently, to have different habits, different hobbies, to get some hobby, to get a hobby, so you can share feelings with other people, rather than feeling they're just being taken away. When you care for someone, you care for all the different sides of them. You don't see the Pluto right away. You see they might have this hang up or this aloofness or that, and you think, no, I can deal with that. I'll help them. I don't want to leave them alone. I care. You want to help. You have a kid, you want to help. But it requires trying to find out what really was there, what's really going on. So it's simple enough to see there was some harshness around the home. The person's a little afraid of closeness or sympathy. But they tend to have blocks in their memories. Remember, memories, the moon, memories aren't real. They're just the chains we drag around us and impose on the moment today that interfere with our alertness in the moment. So most of us are dreaming things that happen to us. That's why I'm here. That's why this is here. If that hadn't happened, if she hadn't left me, if I hadn't left her, or whatever. We have things in the past that were hurtful or harmful, or perhaps violent, or perhaps frightening. And those fears are in the memories, and they block the feelings from being here now, or they condition it, or they allow the feelings to be here up to a point. But it's hard to grow past that. One keeps running into the fears unless one faces them. So there's going to be some therapy needed, some things to be faced. Sometimes, since the moon is kind of your nutrition as well, Pluto to the moon could easily mean there's some chemical deficiency or block that was there from some environmental problem when your mother was pregnant. I'm just touching little things, just imagining little things, but when you're relating to a Pluto moon, you have the feelings, but then they're controlled, they're not. So there's a loss of innocence, there's a coldness, there's a puzzle in that, there's a distance in that. And as opposed to someone who might just not have any difficult aspects to Pluto to the moon. So they drive us to have to fix the problem. But we remember the problem, we have to fix it. We have this, there's a control factor. Lots of famous people have, most people, the majority of people can have an aspect of Pluto to their moon. Well, there's always a relationship of the moon to Pluto. Yeah, 360 degrees, there's always these two levels going on. How to live, what to be afraid of. What's a threat? You know, like someone might be agoraphobic, just want to stay at home and not go out. Someone may be going out and really controlling things, but not recharging and nurturing themselves. So whether it's above or below, it could really push. You have to know how Pluto's working, and then you see that Pluto working has an effect on the moon, on the feelings, on the memory. Don't just say on the moon. It's a Pluto square. It's the moon. It's the fear, the confrontation, the challenge, the reality check on my personal feelings, on my diet, on my they might be afraid of doctors, but you might need to get doctors, and you might have to take care of something. When we see transits, we learn about these outer planets more by Uranus, Neptune, Pluto transits. We see them when they affect things. We see they come up for a year or two, and boy, we really see their effects. But in the natal chart, they're latently there. So if fear of closeness, fear of having kids, and that fear of having kids may make someone not want to get closer, not want to be maternal. It's forced to have to do this, or I better do this, or if I want to have security, I better have a kid, and I can have a kid so that I'll be secure. And then of course it's not secure because it wasn't the feelings. And sooner or later, if there's an untruth, it's going to come up as the source of the dis-ease or the difficult feelings or the fears. But they hit the personal level, they hit the dreams, they hit the feelings, they hit the mom, they hit the home, they hit the diet, they hit your ability to absorb or take in nutrients. Wow.